Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Gerstmann. I'm going to do a record review for you. I decided that I would review an album of a group that I hadn't heard before, that maybe I had heard of, saw in the record stores, but never really heard. But when I say that, that's like saying I want to look in the dictionary for a word that I haven't heard of before. It's not a matter of I knew a group that I would look for, but I eventually found the group Nantucket, which I'd seen their albums around and like in the dollar bins. They're from like maybe the 80s, maybe early 90s, around that time. Maybe late 70s, early 80s. I'm not exactly sure, but they were around when I was um, not into them, hadn't heard them. But they must have had a few songs on the radio. But these are albums that you can find if you go to stores like thrift stores or record stores or dollar bins. Look for stuff from like maybe, yeah, this album came out in 1978, the one that I'm going to review. Their second album. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But if you get vinyl and you like to listen to vinyl, then in my opinion, instead of purchasing groups that also have CDs out or stuff that's newly available, get stuff that you can't find, stuff that they don't put out on CD, because that's the whole point, I think, is to listen to old obscure stuff that you can't get unless you make an effort. So anyway, I made an effort, and the album that I picked by Nantucket is their second album called Your Face or Mine. And I'll just tell you song by song what I think of the group, because until now I had not heard anything by them. The first song, Give Me Your Love, it had cool studio musicianship and I liked most of the song, but they sounded kind of like that group Duke Jupiter, which is also a group that's as as heard recently. You know, I would suggest that you listen to them too. They're pretty cool. But yeah, it sounded kind of like a Duke Jupiter song, but not quite a good one, but not too bad. And then the next song, I Live For Your Love, that was kind of a bluesier version of Glenn Fry's You Belong to the City, combined with a popish kind of Cars sound. It it was odd and quirky, if interesting, and it took a little bit of getting used to. And then Hey Hey Blondie, it was a really good idea, but it was way too poppy. I thought it should have been heavier. And then California, that really wasn't my style of ballad, but it was some that I heard, and the guitar solo was pretty good. And then Wide Awake, that was an okay filler song. It reminded me a little bit of Quarter Flash and Sniffing the Tears. And then Don't Hang Up, that was a totally cheesy ballad, which I don't mind, actually. It sounded very McCartney-ish, like the songs Maybe I'm Amazed and Don't Let Me Down. So it was kind of alright. And then Your Place or Mine, that was like a second-rate Jay Giles band, but it was okay. and then Just the Devil's Way. That was more of a prog sound like Styx. It was kind of interesting, and it also, in some ways, reminded me a little bit of Steve Miller. And then Is It Wrong to Rock and Roll? That was kind of like in the beginning a Billy Joel ballad. It was kind of cool, and then it sounded more like Styx, and then it kind of rocked out, and the guitar solo was great. So I would say overall, Nantucket's second album, Your Face or Mine, I would say, that's just one of many, many albums from that time that get overlooked. And, you know, you could pick that one. You might be able to pick another one, but just, I'd say, take a chance. Listen to stuff from the 70s and 80s and get exposed to stuff that I was listening to when I was growing up. Or if not those groups, then groups that were around that weren't as popular but still doing stuff that people were hearing. Because some of it's pretty good. And you might think, wow, you found out about some that not a lot of people know of, and it makes you more well known. I mean, makes you more where you know more about groups. Well, anyway, that's been my review. See ya.